also usually contrast that with a honey blonde again. If the client wants something quite light, not too dark, and they're looking at something around a base 7 or an 8 for a low light, I would always take them down to a 6, because what happens with your 7s and 8s and low lights, as soon as you dry the hair off, you'd lose the colour completely, the tone will just go, and you'll end up with this very slightly muddy looking edge to your colour. It won't be quite as obvious as you want it to be, so I'd always choose a 6 to do that with, to make it stand out a bit more. And don't be frightened to do that. It's really important that you know what you're doing to get the right result, rather than what you think you should put on. If you're doing foil to try and correct some tone, it might be that you've tried to bleach your hair, you've had black in the bottom of it, and it's red down here, ginger, orange, yellow, and then white at the roots. What you'll want to do is put your foils in, and then just cover the darkest bits, like the ginger and the red parts. And then what you might want to do after that is paint it up slightly further, after maybe 10-15 minutes, and then that'll process evenly. What you don't want to do is go right up to the root and then start to, panic because the root's taking whiter and the ends aren't. So always work with the right hair type and texture and colour that you've got in there. And you really need to make sure that you ask your client as many questions as possible to find out what colours are in the hair at first, because you don't want to get root glow, as they call it. Now the other thing you might want to use foiling for is to cover some greys, when people have got just a few small pieces of grey. You might be able to quite easily weave those out, just take, with your tail comb, just weave over the sections. You might want to just take your sections around the front and just pop a few in there. And again, if you're going to cover grey with anything, you need to choose something that's not too much lighter than the client's own shade, because you need to make sure that you use 6% 20 volume, because that's the only peroxide that will cover grey hair. Anything lower won't cover it, anything higher won't cover it, so you need to make sure that you always use 6% for covering grey. Grey hair again breaks all the rules with choosing colour, because there is no warmth present, so it's important that what you choose for grey hair is what your client sees on the chart. So if your client sees maybe an 8-0, you'll use an 8-0 because it will come out as it looks like on the chart. Don't use anything ashy on the grey hair unless the client wants to try and keep it looking grey but tone it down a bit. Because if you choose an ash shade, you will get an ash shade, and it can tend to go a little bit bluey looking, which is not a very flattering look. So keep those shades more natural for the older skin as well. You should also keep those shades quite light. The greyer the person is, the lighter the shade should be, really. If they want low lights, I wouldn't go too dark, because it can look very stripy, it can look quite skunkish. It's not a good look for somebody, so try to keep them a little bit lighter, because skin goes a bit sort of washed out as well when you get older, so you need a bit more help with making something that's going to complement that rather than wash it out even more. So that's about it really with choosing your colour and deciding on what kind of foil you want to do. You can put them as close together or as far apart as you want, and it's up to you what size weave you do and how many foils you put in. If you're using bleach though, make sure that you don't overload yourself, especially if you're doing it on your own hair, because if you start to put foils back to back all the way over your head, by the time you come to the top, the back and the sides are going to be done, and then you'll be in trouble because you've got to try and get that bleach off so it doesn't over-process. So if you are using bleach, make sure that you've got low developer to hand, because you'll need that, so it can lift nice and slowly, and your foils will be very nice and shiny and in good condition when you're finished. And then make sure that everything's sort of, you know, prepared before you start to do that, in case of an emergency, in case something happens. Have a towel, have a water spray, and make sure that you can take those foils out if you need to, as soon as you need to. And also, if you're going to put lots of bleached foils into your own hair, make sure that you use a lower volume of peroxide where you start, and when you come into the end, the last few sections, use a higher volume, and then it will try to even out a bit more and process a bit more evenly. And don't over process the bleach. Make sure that you leave it on for the least amount of time that you possibly can. You can always tone afterwards, don't forget that. So I will be doing a video next on showing you actually how to weave, how to apply your foils, and how to get good result nice and close to the root with no bleed. So just keep watching for that, and I'll get it to you as soon as I can. Thanks for watching. Bye!